If you were here last week, you saw me take this old beauty and turn it into an 80s shred metal machine. Hopefully the deities of vintage guitars are not mad at me.
You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature.
This is the 1957 Gibson ES-225T, lent to me by one of my very best friends. There were only 5,220 of these single pickup ones ever made, and I wonder how many are left out there in playable condition. Today I'm going to give it the proper Music with Marky review and demo treatment, and welcome to the channel.
I will not be bullied by that.
Puny god.
Have you ever heard someone say how incredible a played-in guitar is? The first time I heard this was back in 1987 when a sales guy at Sam Ash convinced me to try this new company's guitar before I picked out the new Charvel I was looking at instead. From the moment I played the first note on that old PRS, I knew what played-in meant. There's this thing with the feel of the guitar after thousands and thousands of hours of playing it. I don't know what is physically happening to the guitar, but you can tell when one's been on a stand and neglected versus one that's been played a ton. Anyway, this guitar was made in 1957, and a couple generations of players put hours and hours of playtime into it, and I can tell when I play it plain as day. So let me give you a little bit of this old beauty in a mix, and then we'll come back and talk about my ratings on it. Little history on this model before I do my usual and break down the playability, construction, and sound. This model was introduced in 1955 and was the first thin-line hollow body that Gibson produced. By 1959, it was phased out in favor of the ES-330 and the 125T models. This guitar I have in my hands doesn't have the original tailpiece here, which I'm told was not very good on the production models and got replaced by any serious players. The pickup position here was unique in that it's between the bridge and the neck, and eventually they released an ES-225TD with two pickups in the traditional positions, and the finish is called Tobacco Sunburst. Because, you know, back in 1957, smoking was still considered cool.
Silver Thins, lowest in tar and nicotine of all 100s, lower than most Kings, yet better taste. Can a cigarette that tastes as good as Silver Thins possibly be that low in tar and nicotine? Read the latest government figures. Try Silver Thins, now in menthol too.
The scale length on this is their traditional 24 3/4, and most of it is laminated maple with a solid maple block inside under the bridge. I believe the fretboard is bound Brazilian rosewood, but I haven't confirmed that yet. Now let's rate this puppy. As I said at the outset of this video, this guitar has that played-in feel that makes it super effortless to play. I can't say what another one would be like or what it was like new, but I can say that the action is quite low, and there is no buzz anywhere. That would bode well for any of its sisters. My one complaint with it kind of crosses into construction, but it's not so much a deficiency in construction as it's a design choice that, for me anyway, affects playability, and that is that it was built with a strap connection over here, like on an acoustic guitar at the top of the neck by the nut, and it's really uncomfortable to play. I prefer most electrics where they have it here. It's got a weird balance to it, and it makes it hard to play for me. So based on my experience with it, it's not quite as butter as my PRS, but it's darn friendly other than that balance issue. I give this an 8 out of 10. Let's move on to construction. When I hold this guitar, I'm surprised at what good shape it's in, given that it's 65 years old. It actually feels kind of fragile to me, but it's clearly sturdy as heck. Now when I talk construction in these reviews, mostly I'm looking at how it sustains, how it holds tune, especially through seasonal changes, and if the hardware is superior. When my friend brought this here, it had been sitting in a case for months, and it still barely needed tuning. I tuned it up once, and it's held ever since, even after I went all hair metal with it. The tuners are solid, and still have a nice, tight, but smooth turn, and the knobs are still in great shape and roll cleanly. As far as sustain, well, surprisingly, it's really darn good. That speaks highly of the nut piece over here, and the replacement tailpiece and bridge it has here. All in all, I have to say this thing is this good after 65 years. I give it a 10 out of 10. Well, if you were looking for a wide array of sounds, then you don't choose a guitar like this, and I'm not going to rate it based on variety. This guitar is mostly made for one type of tone, and it does it with excellent warmth and clarity. And yeah, you can actually distort it too, and it sounds pretty rad. At the end of this video, I'll link up last week's video where you can see what I'm talking about and know that I'm not lying. So based on what I compare it to in its most usable genre, it's nice but not the best. You can get some warmer tones that I find more full of character on other guitars in this family, and of course you get some more variety with the two pickup models. And so my overall sound ranking for this is a 7 out of 10. So that's it for the Music with Marky review of this beauty. Let me know what you think, and until next time guys, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.